All right, what's up, guys? Chuck Ruck with Ruck's Place to Pod, and I'm dropping this Friday episode for you guys. What's up? I'm so happy that you guys are here, and you keep being here. You keep showing up. Your loyalty means everything to me. Hopefully, I'm giving you the type of thing that you could continue to be loyal for, right? And yeah, man, that's my spill. I appreciate you guys. So let's jump right into this one, man, because this one is a little heavy. And I think a lot of you will identify with it, especially if you're a parent of an adult, a young adult. Maybe your kid just graduated college, right? Like one of mine. And it has to do with, metaphorically speaking, the backpacks, right? So stick a pin in backpack. And we're going to unpack what that is, right? Literally, we're going to unpack that. So before my kid graduated her university, right? University of Santa Barbara, if you guys, some of you guys already know that, but my kid said to me, we were having dinner, we were testing out different restaurants to have, her graduation celebration at, right? And we had this beautiful place with these beautiful dishes that were, a little ritzy, some of them were on point, and then some of them were just throwaways, right? And we're sitting there going through the dishes, and she's a foodie. She cooks. She loves cooking, and some of her stuff is good, but some of it is also throwaway. You just can't. But anyway, no. But she's a great chef, right, in the becoming stages, and she's the type of kid that has that desire to do that, right? A lot of people don't cook at all. A lot of us just microwave it and pop it, fast food it, and we're done, right? Now she likes to take her time and cook for the family, and sometimes we just have to appease her and just make it do what it do. But sometimes it's on point. It is insane, right? She's really getting good. But the point of this is, at the table, we were looking out at the ocean. It was a beautiful setup, beautiful view. I mean, the presentation of the food was like incredible. And she said to me, Dad, and Mom, who we were both there, she said, I'm having some problems, and I think it's a good time to address them. Now, I'm a parent, so I'm thinking, like, what could be the problem? Like, is it your grades? It wasn't her grades. She was she was a 4-point student, made the dean's list almost every year, and she went to two different top level universities, and she made the dean's list almost every quarter, right? But she said to me, and Mom, she said, I'm having separation issues with school, and those thoughts had never even crossed my mind, like, wow. And I said, could you explain a little more, right? And she went into details about what that meant to her, right? And it meant that she wouldn't have a set of instructions to follow when she woke up every morning, as she lived on the dorm, and she went from one building to the next, from one class to the next, acquiring or getting her education, right? And I had never heard that before, man. Sometimes your kids will reveal some things to you that you just don't think about. And I guess that's the reason that they're there, to teach you, right? This was something that I had never, Mom had we just kind of looked at each other and we're kind of frozen, like, wow. Because it hit, logically, it made sense, right? But what did that mean for us? Now having a college graduate within that time, a couple weeks, feeling these type of feelings, and us not knowing how to give her a set of instructions outside of a job, right? Something to wake up to and continue on this routine. And she said to us, the routine is going away, and I don't know what to do. I'm so freaked out about not having a routine. You ever think about that? Have you ever even thought about that? When your kid says to you, I don't know about the routine. I don't know how to create a routine because it's always been created for me. You see a college counselor, you tell them what your major is, they line it up for you. You go after those classes, those units, those credits, however you want to call it, and eventually you graduate after accomplishing or going through whatever the works that you need to get done in order for you to meet that end, right? Which she did, right? Now, that's a lot to unpack. A lot of emotion went with that. She started crying at the table. So that kind of threw me, right? My baby's here crying. Here we are thinking like, you're about to accomplish one of the biggest accomplishments that you may in your entire life, but and here you are not looking at it from a standpoint of, wow, I'm done. Like, hats go up in tassel to the right, hats go up in the air. I think it's tassel to the right. I think it is, right? I did it a couple of times, but those were 100 years ago. But anyway, 3 times. Anyway, the point is to deal with that. That was kind of heavy. Now, then it went to a point where she's hanging out with friends. She's traveling overseas a bit, just in celebration, but also in relief because she's done, but then also carrying around in sort of that backpack this set of feelings, right? Fast forward, we talk not too long ago, like within days from this posting, right? And same kid talked about, she gave us like this, again, this metaphor of a backpack that she had been carrying on her back, and her sisters have been carrying on their backs, and your adult kids may be carrying on their backs, or just your kid in general may be carrying a backpack where things that they are experiencing, they kind of set them and put them in the backpack and kind of tuck them away. That's the idea. And she talked about things that she had incurred or experienced through being out in the world, and things that, being in the home with us, she had experienced that she didn't know how to address when they may have touched her, or she may have experienced them in a way where they were heavy, or they were things that she didn't quite understand, or things that she didn't know how to address at that point in time. And she said, I've been carrying this backpack, and so many of her friends have been carrying these sort of backpacks filled with experiences that may have brought them pain, may have given them what you want them to find, right? A sense of identity, a sense of self, right? And we talked about some things that she had gone through that kind of blew our minds, Mom and I, right? And she talked to Mom first before she talked to me, right? And experiences where she was dealt with from a racial standpoint, that she was called a few things, being a mixed, a child of mixed race, Asian and African American, and people calling her derogatory terms on both sides of it, and her addressing it in the moment in a temporary, like, kind of defense, but then at the same time, the weight of whatever was being said to her was so heavy that she couldn't address it all and feel satisfied in her defense of whatever she was experiencing at the hands of someone who was just ignorant, and as a kid, that is what it is. And that kind of goes off into adult life too, right? You got a lot of adults out here that are very unmindful, right? Not mindful of the words that they speak, or they are, and their intentions are to be hurtful and nasty, which causes someone like my kid here, who tucked things in her backpack, right? And then I got to talking to some other kids, just coaching, and I heard some things from one kid, a young man who's about to graduate college now as well. It's in his last year, talked about how his relationship with his mother and his father kind of played out with him not feeling close to his mom. And his mother was chasing money for business sakes because of her pain when she and his father went through some things. Well, her security place, or her place of safety, was to just work her butt off, and the mom also and I had a conversation, was to make as much money as she possibly could so she could help her kids, but it was a sort of ease of the pain that she was going through. And I said, wow. So the unpacking on both of these individuals, and then just thinking back to point in time where not just my own kids, but other kids were saying something in confidence to me about things that they had in their backpacks. We have to make time for our kids. And a lot of us don't have time, or we're just lazy. We really don't want to know. It's too hard for us to deal with, because we got a lot going on, and maybe we got some things in our backpacks that we've never unpacked, right? It used to be a time where therapy was like shunned upon, like, you're in a therapy, you need a shrink, you're a psycho, yeah. It used to be a time for us growing up where we come up from. That was a thing. You didn't want to be the one that had to go to see a therapist and then have everybody else hear about that. It was a funny thing, because even my youngest kid the other day came in, and one of her friends had made fun of her because she has a math tutor. Now my baby's almost a straight A student, right? And in math, she's kicking ass, but she wanted to finish strong, and she wanted a tutor, right? Which cost me about $50-$60. One was $95 an hour. But her friend laughed at her and tried to make it sound like it was something negative. But where we are from and where we have socialized our kids, everybody has a tutor for one reason or another. It could be just for the SATs, right? It could just be for getting into med school, or just finishing strong like my kid. And it almost comes off as it's a luxury to have that type of a support system and that type of extra teaching that ensures that, hey, you keep your GPA up, right? But that was something that went into the backpack, right? It's almost like a scarring that was revealed to me and to mom here, right? So the point of it all is, it's so important, and I come to learn that it's so important for us, for you guys who are listening to me, to actually make time and just be a fly on a wall and allow for our children to express themselves and to unpack that backpack, and for us to keep as much of the things that may have been negative to them, that harmed them, that hurt them, that had positioned them on a path where you might not quite understand what they're going through, and nor can they communicate that which they are going through because they don't know how to address it, right? And they don't know how to bring it to mom nor dad. Sometimes your kid will bring something to mom that she definitely is not taking over to dad. And then, I don't know, with girls, they bring it to dad, right? And well, sometimes they'll bring it to me before it goes to mom, and they'll say, don't tell mom, but they know I'm going to tell mom at some point. Or I just kind of hold it until they clear me to actually bring mom in, right? And so it's just important because you don't know what they're going through. Someone used to say, I had a lawyer friend years ago. Yeah, we had a fallout, but there's a whole another story to tell you about that. It had to do with age. Just asked the guy what was his age. Never saw it coming. Anyway, he was cooking for us for dinner. And I said, so how old are you, man? And he didn't take that. It was an English fellow, you know, from London. He didn't take that question. I didn't know people were so self-conscious about their age, but he was. And anyway, we lost the friendship right after that dinner as he policed his wife on everything she spoke at the dinner table. It just kind of threw me for a loop. Anyway, I know I'm all sidetracked, but let's dial this back in. Anyway, he said to me that even as young kids, in the sandbox, they deal with politics that we don't appreciate or we don't take note of. And they're dealing in their little worlds with all types of things, friendships, how they feel, how they relate in the environment, who they relate to, who they see as they start to make levels on who's really a friend that they could just be safe with or feel safe with versus one that they just could have a laugh and have some fun with. And that carries on until adult life, like it just does, right? So just understanding that and those ideas and conversation, finding his way back to the surface, all of that came to a head when my kid gave us this example of carrying this backpack. Man. So, with that being said, I'm sure there's a lot of you who are out there who are definitely going through this right now, who have experienced this and then you're done with it and you did take the time to give your kids what they needed. And some of you have young children who you may not even be thinking about this at this point. And hopefully I helped bring this to the forefront to whereas you could give some credence to this idea that your kid is carrying a backpack and they're stuffing it with things. And if you could stay on top of how much goes into that backpack, that you can help them address and sort through just as a parent, I'm pretty sure it'll make a world of difference on how they formulate who they become in the world when their time comes for them to be independent and step out on their own. Man, that was kind of emotional for me, guys. So I'm glad that you're still here, and hopefully we can have a conversation about that. And hopefully you guys will tell somebody about it. Come on, man, share this pod, man. I think all of us contribute here to make this thing continue to grow as like a child, right? I got some things in the backpack for Ruck's place that I am unpacking. This is one of them. All right, Chuck Rucker, Ruck's Place the pod. I'll catch you guys next Friday. And thank you so much for always tapping in. All right, until the next show. Peace.